Hello, Internet, and welcome to my review for Boruto Naruto Next Generations, episode 92, the final episode of the Mitsuki's Disappearance arc. When we last left off, we had the final fight with Ku, as he forced Mitsuki to go into Sage mode, threw in a few questions about why Mitsuki left with them in the first place, and then was finally beaten by Onoki, who lost his life using the final Dust Dial Jutsu, and killing Ku and Onoki. Moving right along, we open with our heroes having been picked up by Naruto and Sai and Shikamaru and all them on a long train ride home. Boruto frets about Mitsuki being in a separate train car, being watched by Sai and Konohamaru, and then we cut to Ino Shikacho, where Ino is still, not Ino, Ino-jin is still deeply fretting about Akun's death, and we cut to Ino-jin making Akun's grave. And I said back in 88, I think it was, how much I loved the way they handled Ino-jin's reaction to Akun's death. It's I think it's slightly less effective here, just because we've, seen it already. But you know what? I ain't gonna fret about it. It's still really nice. It's still really sad and really well conceived. Also, I love, the deep family bond between Ino Shikacho, as, Shikadai brings up, how they're gonna have to face Moegi's wrath in order to, he, sees that Ino-jin is upset about Akun, and so he brings this up to, take Ino-jin's mind off of Akun's death. That's all really nice. And then we cut to Onoki's funeral, which is only being attended by the 5 Kage and the Stone Village people. Our heroes were sent off before they could attend the funeral. And it's a nice reminder of one of what maybe possibly should have been the arc's main theme that never really got brought up as much as maybe it should have. That we can't leave our safety up to some kind of higher power, and that we have to take our fate into our own hands. And that Onoki, by creating the fabrications to protect people, was, I don't know, making them complacent, I think. And sure, Onoki's motivations were very much wrapped in the sense that they were already complacent, and that they were, that the youth of today were weak, and they needed someone to protect them. I think it kind of ties into this. There's always very much a generational theme going on in Boruto, even if it's always just beneath the surface and not on top. That's kind of an expected thing, given that it's about, the next generation of a cast we all know and love. And so it kind of ties into this, we have to let the next generation live. We can't just, Onoki's fatal flaw here is that he was unable to believe that the next generation was, capable of providing for themselves, and so he forced himself into this kind of eternal caretaker role by giving them the fabrications, especially given that Ku was designed off of Onoki, and it went horribly wrong, because you have to let people take care of themselves at a certain point. And that's kind of something that the arc didn't really touch on as much as I might have wanted it to in retrospect. But we do get that here, in the funeral scene. Anyway, after that we go back to the Leaf Village, and Boruto and Sarada in adjacent scenes, both return home and face their families, and both Hinata and Sakura have basically the same reaction to seeing their kids come home. It's slightly different, but the underlying emotions are the same. They're angry for a moment, then they're just relieved that their child is safe. There's something a little odd about giving Hinata and Sakura, who are both such different characters, the exact same reaction. But whatever, it's a minor enough thing, I don't really care. And then we go on to consequences for the past arc. None of which stay very long, but whatever, that's fine. As Mitsuki is held in solitary confinement to be interrogated for a good long while, and Naruto is forced to strip Boruto and Sarada of their genin rank, in order to punish them for leaving the village without authorization, which that's kind of a weird thing. Not punishing them for going after Mitsuki when they were specifically told not to, but that they need authorization to leave the village is a weird thing, I think. I don't know if it's ever been brought up before, even in, like, in Naruto. But, like, Boruto, the whole thing is that, like, the five villages are at peace and are working together most of the time. And so it's just a little odd that you need authorization to go between villages. Or not even to go between villages, but to leave the Leaf Village. I don't know. Maybe it was just worded weird, and his main grief was that they left when he told them not to and went to the Stone Village, or whatever. Anyway, what I do like is that Naruto does not agree with what he's doing to Team 7. He doesn't think that Mitsuki saved the Stone Village, doesn't deserve to be interrogated for so long. Boruto and Sarada, you know, the whole, Kakashi in, like, episode 5, those who break the rules are trash, but those who, abandon their friends are worse than trash, is very much Naruto's thought here, but also he can't just not punish them for, like, brazenly breaking the law. Also, he does put on that he's keeping Mitsuki locked up for parents' sake, for the elders. And honestly, the elders should just retire or die already. They were super fucking old 20 years ago. They were the students of Tobirama Senju, who, first of all, fucked the village over in so many fucking ways. Like, fuck Tobirama. He destroyed everything. He's pretty much the reason, he's a big cause of all the Uchiha hate, leading to the Uchiha massacre, leading to Sasuke's whole arc. So Tobirama can fuck off, you know? But, like, they're just super old. Retire, or die, or do something. You're old. Whatever. Anyway, after, Boruto gets his ninja-ness removed, he goes home and he's lying in his bed and he has a dream talk with Garaga, who just kind of leaves. Like, yeah, I was only going to be here until Mitsuki came back, so now that Mitsuki's back, peace out. And maybe we'll see more Garaga later, but it seems like we're just not going to get any answers on Garaga's old partner. We never know why the partner betrayed him. It was kind of implied back when we were first introduced to Garaga that there was some greater mystery there, and I don't know if we're ever going to see that. So that's a little disappointing. I'll talk a lot more about my disappointments with the arc at the end of the video. But anyway, moving right along, Mitsuki leaves interrogation. They're finally done with him after however many days. And the first thing he does is he makes a grave for the fabrications. He is such a good boy. Mitsuki is such a good boy, and I love him to death. He is my son. I adore him. Mitsuki's just a good kid. I love him to death. He's so good. Yeah, it's really sad. I did slightly complain about, as I've said, I think I said in my last video too, my episode 90 video, I was a little disappointed that we didn't really see Mitsuki get to react to Sekie's death in a really visceral way, but we do kind of see it here. As we see, he cares enough for them to make a grave. And it is not really Mitsuki's character to cry too much. But anyway, after he does that, Boruto finally finds him, and he finally has to talk with Mitsuki that he's been trying to have since Mitsuki came back to our side, way back in 89. And Mitsuki confesses that he did not just leave with the fabrications in order to, like, get info on them, but he also wanted to find out more about who he was and what it meant to be a synthetic human. And Boruto just tells him that it is okay for his will to not just be one thing, that he can want to learn about himself and try to save the village. Still does not answer a couple questions. I don't think it answers the original question of if Mitsuki's will to follow Boruto was Mitsuki's own, or if it was implanted in him. I don't think that ever really got addressed, and I'm super disappointed about that. That was one of the really, like, intriguing things about this arc from the get-go, and it was just kind of dropped, and I'm a little bitter about that. Also, we never found out how Mitsuki figured out these guys were up to something shady in the first place, which is another kind of weird thing to me. But you know what? Given that the is this my will or is it someone else's question was dropped ages ago, this is good enough. It's a good enough conclusion to the central question of the arc. I'm still just a little disappointed by it is all. Then into the things I'm not disappointed by. The Doctor, last episode, or 2 episodes ago, the Doctor was killed by Ku. And I was like, oh, I guess the Doctor is just done for now, even though there were all these, like, questions set up. You know, he had white Zetsu cells to create the fabrications with. That was never explained. And then, so I was thinking all through the arc, oh, he's going to be important, and then no, he's not. But then we cut to Orochimaru and Log in wherever the fuck Orochimaru is now. Is he in the Sound Village? Actually, here's a bit of a tangent, because I don't think when Boruto went to see Orochimaru, he went all the way to the Sound Village. I don't think he went all the way to the Sound Village for that. So, what's going on with the Sound Village? Like, they were created by Orochimaru, I think, for revenge, right? But there are still, like, citizens of the Sound Village. So, did he just, like, step down as leader of the Sound Village? Did the Sound Village dissolve? What happened to all the people of the Sound Village? What is up with the Sound Village? I want to know this now. I've not thought about this at all through the run of Boruto so far, but, like, what is up with the Sound Village? Anyway, that's not important. What is important is that the doctor's corpse was missing and vanished. And so here's my theory on the doctor. So the whole white Zetsu cells is kind of a big mystery here. And my theory is that they were provided by Urashiki. Because we know the Zetsus come from Kaguya originally, he's a Notsutsuki. And Urashiki is also Notsutsuki. So it makes sense that somehow Urashiki would have white Zetsu cells. I'm not sure how yet, but that's besides the point. It's believable that he'd have them. Even if he just, like, found them in that cave where they found the monster white Zetsu way back when, that might be there. I don't know. He had white Zetsu cells, all that important. And so he gave the doctor the white Zetsu cells in order to create the fabrications in order to get to Mitsuki. I'm pretty sure, it's been a while, but after Urashiki and Mitsuki have a little, like, short little fight during the Chunin exams, I think that after that, since then, Urashiki's been a little interested in Mitsuki. Maybe he's a little more interested in Boruto now after Boruto killed Momoshiki. But I think Urashiki planted all this to get at Mitsuki somehow, and I imagine that'll be brought up much later when we have time to cover Urashiki. I don't know when that's going to be, though. But anyway, the doctor is important, and we'll get back to that eventually. Maybe he just, like, didn't die. I don't know. Maybe he has a second heart, I don't know. That might be too much of the doctor joke. But, you know, who knows? Anyway, then the whole, like, Naruto, or Boruto and Sarada are demoted plotline gets wrapped up by Kuretsuchi showing up, and just, like, heavily implying she's really mad that Boruto and Sarada got demoted from all this. And Naruto's like, damn it, we can't piss off the Stone Village after everything that just happened. Alright, they're getting again. And then they go on a mission, and the episode ends, and they all live not happily ever after, because there's a lot of show after this. But yeah, that's how the episode ends. So this episode was a nice conclusion to Boruto's longest arc to date. We got a nice bit of, like, touching on the consequences of the arc with Akun and Onoki's deaths, some more, like, living in there. A lot of good bonding time with Team 7. So much of this episode was just, like, Boruto and Sarada discussing how they are, and then eventually they got Mitsuki back in the group. And then we have another loose thread in the Doctor's disappearing corpse to go with Urashiki, who I'm theorizing is connected to it, and that mysterious guy that attacked Katasuke before the Chunin exams, wink wink. Manga readers know what's up with that, but anime fans, y'all don't know anything about that yet. Mainly this episode was about the bonds between Team 7 and how they'll hold up to really anything. So that's the episode. Now for the arc. The arc, in retrospect, was more than a little unnecessarily long. I theorized back in, like, November or, like, early December that the arc would, like, wrap up with the new year. That in the last episode of 2018 would be the end of this arc. And I think they could have done that without losing too much, you know? They didn't really need Seki or Sanzu Plains. That could have been cut really easily. And those are some fairly, like, disliked episodes. The Ryuchi Cave stuff could have been trimmed down a fair bit. They did have, like, 2 separate Garaga episodes, and Garaga just did not contribute anything besides, like, coiling himself around a giant golem that, I don't know, that whole scene could have just been reworked without the golem and without Garaga. I don't know. But all my complaints about the arc in retrospect out of the way, there's also a lot of really great stuff. From the final fight with all the fabrications, all of their final fights were great. From Kako's, which was just a standout fight. Kokio's was pretty good. Kirara was probably the worst of the bunch, but still pretty good. Sekie was super good. Ku, just a whole bunch of great fights. Then, Akun's death, Onoki's death, which was something I did not, I wanted, I thought was the rational endpoint of the arc. But I didn't think that they would fucking kill off a main manga character in what is essentially a filler arc. I think after this, you can't really deny the manga and the anime are two very separate continuities now that are only going to get more and more separate as time goes on. Even if the manga had a little mention of the mist field trip way back when in a major spoiler moment, they're two separate continuities. Pretty much after the Chunin exams got extended, you could have argued that, but really with Onoki dying in the anime and him, as far as we know, not being dead in the manga, they're two separate things now. So I think while there was definitely a lot of things that could have, and maybe should have been cut, it was still a damn fine arc. Next time, though, we get some fun Naruto and Himawari stuff as we adapt a light novel. So I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you all enjoyed the episode and the video. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe or do whatever the fuck you want. I don't really care. And as always, people, keep kicking ass and I'll see you in the future. Bye!